The Fantasy Flow Podcast is an unrestricted free agent in 2026. Hey, welcome to the Fantasy Flow Podcast. We're here to recap the Wildcard weekend and preview the Divisional round. It's a solo episode today. Thanks for rocking with me. Wow, what a surprising weekend of football. I absolutely love this time of year. These are like the two best sports weekends. I love Wildcard weekend. I love Divisional round weekend. It's so much good football and just some real surprising results. Like the NFL's even more difficult to predict than we thought. Lots of great close games. Both 2 seeds advance, both 5 seeds advance, and both 6 seeds advance. I don't know anyone who predicted that. This was a very unpredictable weekend of football. A lot of like sharp bettors who are looking at like under the hood analytics, and I think they took a pretty big beating this last weekend with the results. It was a big, pendulum swing back to just conventional wisdom. It was like, yeah, if you've been an Eagles hater all year and thinking that offense is just broken, hey, you were absolutely right. If you thought the Bills were going to beat the Jags because they have Josh Allen, Josh Allen's the best football player, you're absolutely right. Like there was a lot of games like that. If you thought that the Bears were just going to keep winning in miraculous fourth quarter comeback fashion, you're absolutely right. So it was just really funny. A lot of people think, oh, these trends can't continue, or oh, well, according to DVOA and all these analytics, the Jaguars are actually the best team in the NFL. It's like this was a rough weekend if you subscribe to that sort of line of thinking. The craziest stat that I saw coming out of Wildcard weekend, it was actually a theme that I noticed, and I put this together, but in 4 of the 6 Wildcard games, the winning team lost the turnover battle. Like, I feel like Andy and I say that all the time, that like if you win the turnover battle, you win the game. You just got to take care of the ball. It's such a big deal. But across the 6 games, the winners turned it over 11 times, and the losers turned it over only 7 times. So that's kind of crazy. And then I was kind of trying to dig deep, like, how does this make sense? Like looking for another way to explain this. And, I found the results for teams going for it on 4th down. Because if you don't get it on 4th down, that's kind of a turnover in and of itself. They call it a turnover on downs. The winning teams, the 6 winning teams in Wildcard weekend, they were 2 for 3 on 4th down attempts. The 6 losing teams were 6 for 14 on 4th down attempts. So that's pretty huge. And obviously, that kind of rights the ship if you combine that with the turnover numbers. And, the last 5 minutes of the game, of course, the losing team is going to need to go forward on 4th down more, out of desperation. But that's not the case. And that wasn't the case every time. 14 attempts on 4th down. We saw the Jags go for it on 4th down and not get it, early in the game. And there were a couple other examples where I feel like, man, like that was just so huge. Another stat that kind of helps explain this, all 6 winning teams last weekend outscored their opponent. So, there's that. Something else that stood out to me, both these 6 seeds advancing for 49ers and Bills, massive contributions from like 35-year-old linebackers who weren't on any NFL roster in September. They were making game-changing plays for their teams. I'm talking about Eric Kendricks, the linebacker for San Francisco, and Shaq Thompson, the linebacker for Buffalo, both just coming up huge, against the Niners. Had to go against Saquon. And Eric Kendricks, he's like a 4th-string guy basically at this point, and he stood tall, man. Shaq Thompson comes up with a huge turnover for Buffalo, and that Buffalo team, run defense is supposed to be their weakness, and it just really, it was, but it wasn't. We'll talk about it, but yeah, I thought he played great, and they were able to limit the Jags offense. Very surprising result to me. Although, I was thinking about last week, and we drafted all these teams, and we talked about their chances of pulling an upset and who we liked in the game, but we didn't actually get any firm predictions on the board. So I'm going to change that this week. I'm going to give you guys final score predictions for all 4 divisional round games, And in addition to that, I am going to put together a 4-leg parlay, 1 leg from each divisional game. And so I'm going to share those with you. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Before we close the book on Wildcard Weekend, just some more quick thoughts. Man, I was very disappointed in the Chargers offense and the Steelers offense. Chargers offense, that was crazy. It was just a total collapse. And the Patriots defense isn't even that scary. Omarion Hampton, I thought he was healthy and ready to go, and he takes 1 carry for -2 yards and then never plays the rest of the game. So I don't know what that was about. That hurt my parlays and stuff because I was counting on him. But yeah, the rest of the Chargers offense just couldn't get anything going. I think that's just a broken offensive line. Just a real shame. And the Patriots didn't really do anything special on offense either. We'll talk about it more. But those were... it was a great start to Wildcard Weekend, and then the last 2 games were just totally fell flat. Chargers, Patriots, Texans, Steelers. That was disappointing. I don't know, man. Some of these other teams really impressed me. The Jags, they went toe-to-toe with Josh Allen and the Bills. They were picked by a lot of people to win that game. They didn't win the game, but it was one of the best games of the whole weekend. Clearly, both of these teams were playing very well. The Jags running backs, they were averaging like 8 yards per carry. I don't know why they didn't just run the ball more. They were one of those teams, man, where it's like they were going for it on 4th down, didn't get it, and they were settling for field goals, missed a field goal, and it's just like, man, you just can't let Josh Allen and the Bills just hang around like that, and they really did. So I don't know, man. Shout out to the Bills, like they earned it, but it just felt like the Jags kind of beat themselves with some of those odd decisions, missed field goals. We'll see. And then the Packers. Look, that game did not go how I thought it was going to go at all. I thought the Packers were toast. I thought the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. I thought Jordan Love, without all of his weapons ever since Tucker Kraft went down, and the other wide receivers seemed like they've just been in and out, and I just didn't trust it at all. Josh Jacobs been hobbled the last few weeks. They came out and they got a huge lead, and you can just tell right away whether this is going to be a good Jordan Love game or a bad Jordan Love game. And after the first quarter, I was like, oh my goodness, this is a good Jordan Love game. The Bears are toast. And I was dead wrong. So similar to Panthers-Rams, when the Rams got out to an early lead, I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, this is how it's going to go. They're gonna win by 20. And then Panthers came all the way back. Unlike the Bears, they didn't finish the job. But very encouraging performances from the Jags, Packers, Panthers, making it close. We love to see it. But ultimately the Rams find a way to move on, as do the Bears, and they'll play each other in the divisional round. And, without further ado, I think the next item on the agenda is to check in on the upsets draft that happened last week. For those of you who didn't catch it or need a reminder, Andy and I, we drafted all 14 playoff teams. You get a point every time one of your teams pulls an upset, and you get a point if your team wins the Super Bowl. Very simple format, and here are the teams that we drafted. And as a result of last week's games, I lost the Eagles, the Chargers, and the Panthers. And Andy, he lost the Jaguars, Packers, and Steelers. So we have the same number of teams heading into the divisional round remaining. However, none of my teams that are still alive pulled an upset. So I got 0 points right now. Andy, his 49ers pulled an upset. So he has 1 point. He's leading so far in this competition. And then another really interesting wrinkle here. We both have 4 teams. Well, our teams play each other. So I have the Bears and Rams. I also have the Broncos and Bills. And then for Andy's team, he has the Texans and Patriots and the Seahawks and 49ers. So no matter what happens, both of us are going to have 2 teams this time next week. And but we'll see who has how many points, because that's yet to be determined. As of this recording, Broncos are 1 point underdogs. So I got 2 home underdogs, which I kind of like. I got the Bears and Broncos, so I'm hoping those teams pull an upset. And then Andy, for the purposes of this draft, is rooting for the Texans and 49ers. But, of course, we're both Seahawks fans. In fact, Andy's going to be at the game as Seattle hosts San Francisco. So he's really only rooting for the Texans. He told me that. He said, oh, I already got my point from the 49ers. I'm good. I don't need any more upsets. So, speaking of the divisional round, I say we just move on. and let's preview these upcoming games. I know that's what you guys are listening for. So let's dive into it. We're going to go in chronological order, starting with Broncos Bills. This is the first game of the divisional round. And man, if you've been following us this year, we've been riding these Broncos since the offseason. Right now, the Broncos, they're the number 1 seed, which means they got an extra week to get healthy, an extra week to prepare, and they're at home. So I am not moving off of these Broncos at all. I was very impressed with the performance Josh Allen had against the Jags, but let me share you this. Since the NFL went to this 14-team playoff format, half of the 1 seeds have gone to the Super Bowl. We have a 5-year sample size now to look back on, and yet since only 1 team in each conference is getting that bye, like half the time they go to the Super Bowl. So I am feeling very good about these Broncos. Josh Allen, yeah, he stunted on the Jags, but I still trust the Broncos defense more than the Bills offense. I think the Bills offense, if you can find a way to limit Josh Allen, I don't think they're a team that can beat you in different ways. That feels like their only way to beat you right now. And I trust the Broncos offense more than the Bills defense. So for every game, I'm hitting you with a final score prediction and one of the legs of that 4-leg parlay. So here it goes. Broncos, Bills, final score, Broncos 24, Bills 20. And for this first leg, we're keeping it simple. Just Broncos money line. Broncos country, let's ride. And let's ride on to the second leg of that parlay. And that's going to come from the second game of the weekend, Seahawks 49ers. Right in our own backyard here. This was the best possible matchup for the Seahawks, in my opinion, if Week 18 was any indication. The Seahawks beat the Niners in San Francisco 13-3 just 2 weeks ago, and now George Kittle, he tore his ACL. Huge bummer for him and for San Francisco. But I love this matchup. The 49ers do not scare me at all because I saw what the Seahawks just did to them 2 weeks ago. So it's just... And now it's in Seattle, and now the Seahawks are rested and prepared. The Eagles' offense was not able to take advantage of the 49ers' bad defense, but I fully expect the Seahawks' offense to do so with 2 weeks to prepare. However, the other side of the ball, I do want to give a huge shout-out to the 49ers' offense. You got to give them their props at going up against that Eagles' defense. Shanahan getting creative with some trick plays. Kyle Juszczyk, Demarcus Robinson making massive contributions. It's just they just keep going down the depth chart as far as they need to, and they're still getting production out of whoever's there. So huge shout-out to those guys. Shout-out to Shanahan. Underestimating their offense is a dangerous, dangerous game. I love the Seahawks defense, though, and they held them to just 3 points 2 weeks ago. So all that said, final score prediction, Seahawks 27, 49ers 17. I got Seahawks winning by 10. And as far as that parlay is concerned, Seahawks money line, you're not really getting much bang for your buck there because they are 7-point favorites. So let's tease that just a little bit and give me Seahawks minus 6.5. Broncos money line, Seahawks minus 6.5. Moving on to the next game, Patriots versus Texans. I already talked about it a little bit, but man, the Patriots, you look at that final score, you'd think the Patriots beat the Chargers handily, but that was not the case. It was very close for the entire game. I was unimpressed with Drake May in his first big game. I mean, this was his first playoff game, but you look back to high school and college, he's never really had a big postseason game. This was by far the biggest game of his whole life, and I felt like he didn't really rise to meet the moment. Their offense scored 16 points, which was more than enough against the terrible Chargers offense. But, 16 points? How many points are you going to put up against the Texans defense, which looked so scary against the Pittsburgh Steelers? If that was a movie, that game should have been rated R, just how violent it was, how violent that defense is, and just watching Aaron Rodgers, that probably the last game of his career, ends on a pick six. That Texans defense is scary, man. And was unimpressed with Drake May's postseason debut. Patriots absolutely have a chance. They're still favored by about 2.5, which as the home team, that tells you that the Vegas thinks these two teams are very evenly matched. So you get about 2 points for being the home team, and that's what we're looking at. let's talk about the other side of the ball. Texans offense looked rough. CJ Stroud turned it over 3 times, and we watched Nico Collins leave the game with a concussion. So I understand if people are concerned about the Texans offense. However, I would point to the Patriots defense and say, hey, Christian Gonzalez, he also got concussed in Wildcard Weekend. So that kind of cancels out with Nico Collins. But man, I'll be honest, this is the game of the 4 that I'm least confident in. I'm not sure how this is going to play out. I am going to pick the Texans to pull the upset. I'm going to pick against the Patriots more than anything. I got it very close, though. I got Texans 20, Patriots 17. As far as the parlay goes, it's tough because Nico Collins, he's not officially ruled out yet, so we don't have any of the over-unders or anything for the Texans wide receiver room, but I will say I like Xavier Hutchinson. He tends to be the guy who steps up when Nico Collins is out. He's that bigger-bodied outside receiver who shows out in the absence of Nico Collins. But again, I can't include him in the parlay because we don't know if Nico Collins is going to be in or out yet. But I will tell you, I like CJ Stroud to go over 212.5 passing yards. Just 212. We just got to beat that number. If the Texans are up, I think it'll be because of CJ Stroud. And if they're down, he'll have to pass a lot in the fourth quarter. So, I think a lot of people are down on CJ Stroud because he had some bad interceptions against a tough Steelers defense, but he also made some great throws. His efficiency numbers on third down and things like that were very good against the tough Steelers defense, like I said. So, CJ Stroud, he had 244 passing yards last week, and now he's going up against an easier defense. So, the final game of the weekend, Rams-Bears. In my opinion, the NFL saved the best for last. This has got to be the most must-watch game of the weekend. It's just so exciting and dynamic, these offenses. The Bears' fourth quarter comebacks are just insane. Unlike the previous 3 games, weather should be a factor here. There's going to be wind and potential snow, like there usually is this time of year in Chicago. The real question is, do the first 3 quarters of this game even matter? Is this just going to be another insane comeback from the Bears? Will Colston Loveland, DJ Moore, and Caleb Williams just take over? I don't know. It's possible. I kind of don't think so. I think that the Rams offense, they can beat you in so many different ways. And the Bears, it's just so hard to trust. I really thought that they would come out and look a lot better against the Packers. The Packers just had their way with them in the first half, the first 3 quarters, really. So, I do trust Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford to get it done here against the Bears. Final score prediction, I got Rams 30, Bears 24. Bears can absolutely win this game, though. I mean, there's a lot to like about the Bears. It's just tough with a quarterback. This is his first year in the playoffs. Same for that head coach, right? It's just the Rams have just been there, done that so many times. I just really trust it. And as far as the parlay goes, this is kind of my X factor of the game, if you will. We saw against the Packers, the Bears linebacker TJ Edwards, he left the game with his leg in a cast, which is a big blow to that defense. He's on IR now. Career backup Amen Ogbongbemiga is slated to start. Don't love that. So I think Rams tight ends should have another big day. And, of course, you got Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams on the outside. So they're not getting any help against these great tight ends. So for the fourth leg of the parlay, I like Rams tight end Colby Parkinson to go over 19.5 receiving yards to take advantage of that mismatch. Just 20 yards. He could get that in one play. So, yeah, that's going in the parlay, and I'll read that again for you guys if you want to follow me. We got a 4-leg parlay for the divisional round. Broncos money line, Seahawks minus 6.5, CJ Stroud over 212.5 passing yards, and Colby Parkinson over 19.5 receiving yards. That's going to 10x your bet. So we'll see. We're big on accountability here at the Fantasy Flow Podcast, so that we'll definitely be revisiting this next week, and as well as my game picks. Although this sport's so unpredictable, man. That's why we love it, right? That's why we love it. So what I'm really looking forward to discussing, to dissecting, after divisional round weekend. This is going to be kind of the theme of this weekend, for me at least, is these teams with elite defenses going up against these teams with elite quarterbacks. So, for example, like I have the Seahawks, Broncos, Texans all winning, and I have like Josh Allen and Drake May losing. So that's really going to be when the rubber hits the road, divisional round, gotta have it. Like all these teams are great, but can an elite defense overcome an elite quarterback on the other side to take your team to the conference championship game? That's the question on a lot of fan bases' minds, and that's the question that's going to be answered this weekend, one way or the other. So I'm totally looking forward to that and the discussion afterwards, and it's going to have major ramifications, I think, on the league as a whole, because we're seeing a lot of these teams with quarterbacks on like team-friendly deals, like a Sam Darnold. You know, you got Bo Nix on a rookie deal. You got a lot of quarterbacks on rookie deals here. And then, yeah, some of these other teams with quarterbacks with massive contracts have already gotten bounced. So I think that that's going to continue. Like I said, Texans, Broncos, Seahawks, I'm riding with these elite defenses. And, yeah, we'll see how it plays out. That's all I got for you this weekend. Thanks for listening. Peace out. Thanks a ton for making it to the end of the episode. You're a real one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's a free, easy way to support the show, and it really helps us out. And leave us your comments down below if you're on YouTube, or send in your questions at the Fantasy Flow Podcast at gmail.com. Until next time.